Welcome to Sovereign Soul Radio. Here, we cultivate conscious conversations to support those of us who are healing and awakening now. I am Ivy, a consciousness steward and holistic practitioner, and please join me in these conversations that are so necessary for our transforming human reality at this time. May we all leave these conversations differently than we came. Where we go one, we go all. And so it is. Hello, friend, and welcome back to another episode. In case you and I have not yet met, I am Ivy. I am your host and your friend here, but I am also a biospiritual coach and colon hydrotherapist with a lot of other soulful, holistic, medical and shamanic training behind me. So here in this podcast, in the Sovereign Souls podcast, we are working to create our own liberation, our own sovereignty, our own path for ourselves, free of the influence of the decaying patriarchal crazy systems of this planet. So here, my work right now through these podcasts is to help encourage and educate you so that you can really learn how easy these bodies function, how easily it is for us to drastically change our health, drastically change the quality of our life, the way that we interact, the way that we digest and live through this world, all by changing how we understand our bodies, how we feed ourselves, how we take care of ourselves. And you know, there's such a disconnect still for so many people on the planet, especially here in North America. So I'm really just passionate at this point about creating as much education and encouragement around these subjects as I can, because I see a very, very clear gap in understanding about our health. And this is part of why most of us are, over medicated, not actually feeling all that well or energetic, not sleeping well, having the symptoms, having the problems, and living in bodies that are clearly out of balance. And this impacts us mentally and cognitively and emotionally and even spiritually. So again, with this podcast, we're going to be having so many conscious conversations around all subjects, from like being in the human body and our health, to the soul, to the relationships, to understanding this reality more accurately. We're going to be talking about all of that stuff. But right now, I am still laying the foundation here with you on all of the holistic health stuff. So my intention is to get this stuff, the holistic information, out here ASAP so that we can start helping you feel better in your body. Because when we start feeling better in the body, it's like we start having the energy and the alignment and the balance to really up-level all other aspects of our lives. But really, us truly living on purpose and with passion and doing the work that your soul has brought you here to do, we need a healthy, well-aligned, clear vessel. The body, the human vessel, matters so much. So in this episode today, we are talking about the concept of rest and digest and how this really impacts our health. And really, this conversation should probably be very important for you as well as most everybody else that you love. So I'll keep this as short and sweet and to the point as I can. And if you have questions, get in touch with me. So let's dive in to the juiciness of what this even means. So the concept of rest and digest is basically describing that our bodies are either like actively in the process of being fed, or we're in the process of the digesting, of the working on what we've already put in our mouth holes, working on what is already digesting through the digestive tract, and allowing the body grace and space and time to not have to extremely multitask within ourselves and within our bodies, but to be able to very well actually digest and do the body's processes of what it is that we've asked the body to do. So I guess more so than explain what rest and digest is, it's probably easier for me to talk about what rest and digest isn't and how common we're not resting and digesting. So in our society, we are, many of us, often feeding ourselves and feeding ourselves and feeding ourselves. We are in a convenient society where we're snacking a lot, where we're really constantly being fed in different ways, whether it's through, not all that healthy beverages, or whether that's through snacking or just eating a lot of meals. And basically, and if you've listened to the other episodes that I've made, it's like you'll start to understand that I keep saying the same things over and over again about the body, because it's really simple for us to understand the body and basic ways on how to take care of it. Okay, so you'll hear me say this so many times, that you are a magnificent, fancy, incredible tube from your mouth hole to your butthole. We're like a 32 foot long tube, and it's a hollow tube system that is made of all very muscular organs. And this tube is really how we take in our external world, how we assimilate our world, how we absorb this world, how we digest this world, and then we also have to be able to let go of all of this that we're doing. So all of our digestive organs are also organs that are directly tied in with our nervous system. They are very perceptive organs, so organs of sensory perception. So with what we're eating and how we're eating and the frequency of how we're eating and the ingredients of what we're eating, like this all, of course, drastically impacts the body, drastically impacts our body as a system of organs, and also impacts the information going into our body, the information going into our nervous system, the information being fed into our blood and taken to all of our cells. So anytime that we are ingesting food and participating in the eating of a meal or the eating of a snack, we are introducing new information to the body that the body then has to process. And so when our body is processing any of the food or beverages that we're eating, basically depending on what the ingredients are and what that food is made of, the body is going to start producing specific gastric juices and the enzymes and everything that's needed to break down the specific things that we're eating. So you eat one thing, and as soon as you put it in your mouth, your body starts its process of everything that it needs to do to accurately and well digest what it is that you're eating, so that it can be broken down, so that it can be assimilated and absorbed into the blood, so that the blood can take that nutrition and go and feed all of your cells. And then our digestive tract keeps like processing the food that we eat until it becomes a really healthy, well, bowel movement. However, for most of us, we are eating quite frequently, and we might be eating meals that are larger than necessary, meals that have more artificial ingredients, processed ingredients, foods that aren't quite natural, foods that are very high in refined salts, refined sugars, and really like shitty quality inflammatory oils. Like that is such a big part of what is in the standard American diet right now. And I know in my audience here that some of you listening are already like well on the health track. So there's still going to be like good stuff in this episode for you, even if, you're already well into your journey of eating very well and eating all the colors and the glorious foods and working on your health from a holistic standpoint. But I also know a lot of you in my audience really well, and we're really at the starting points also of like really learning about what it is that we need to be eating and what we don't want to be eating. And I know that this information is also very brand new to a lot of people. So I'm going to keep this like as simple as I can so that it's really tangible information that is actionable for anyone who's listening, regardless of where you are in your journey. So what happens when we are not taking the time to truly rest and digest? And that time meaning really that our meals are spaced out, we're not snacking a lot, we're not just continually putting things in our mouth, okay? Because every time that we're putting things in our mouth, whether it's a sandwich, whether it's a bowl of soup, regardless of what meal it is in the day, or it's, a candy bar or a handful of almonds, like whatever it is that we're putting into our mouth, our body is going to have to initiate the chemical process of digestion. So that takes energy. that takes a lot of energy. And so for a lot of people, we get up and we put something in our mouth. And then, a bit later, we're putting something into our mouth again. A bit later, we're putting something into our mouth again. A bit later, we're putting a whole bunch of something into our mouth. And then we're putting something into our mouth again. So, you get what I'm going with here. And this is still like a very normal way that people live. However, this is also part of how we end up creating congestion, impaction, malabsorption, and like all of the issues that create dysbiosis in the gut. So basically like a gut that's out of balance, which therefore, because 90% of all diseases begin in the gut, and really our gut is going to determine what the rest of our health and wellness is like. When we keep putting stuff in our mouth without giving the body ample time to digest it and focus on it, we end up just creating a lot of work for our organs. So every time that we're putting a snack or a meal in our mouth, or even a beverage that has protein in it, fats in it, like things that the body's actually going to have to work to break down and assimilate and absorb and excrete. So every time we're putting something in our mouth and in our mouth and in our mouth, it's like we are telling the stomach, okay, more stomach acid, you need more stomach acid, we need more gastric juices. Okay, we're putting something in our mouth again. And okay, we need even more gastric juices. And so it's like we just keep restarting the process of digestion. And for a lot of us, we're already not producing ample stomach acid because we've been taking medications, because we've been being stressed, because most people's digestion is not in a really strong place anyways. So when we just constantly eat or constantly snack, it's like we're just keep telling the body like, okay, we're starting this task again. Okay, we're starting this task again. Don't worry about what you're already trying to work on that we keep putting in our mouths, but it's like we're going to start it again. And so this just creates like this need for the body to multitask and the need for the body to keep producing more gastric juices and keep adding, more things to what the body already has to do today. And especially this is while we're already, living our life and we need energy for all of the things that we need to do in a day. But at that same time, we keep telling the body to start this really big digestive process. And really, digestion takes so much energy from us. So when we're in the place of constantly eating and constantly eating and constantly eating or snacking, we are really burdening and overwhelming the body with like just a continual workload. And this, over time, leads to things that we don't want to experience. So this leads to, in a nutshell, more congestion in the gut, more mucus in the gut, more inflammation in the gut. We're going to have more residual stuck in the gut, which therefore means impacted waste material, which therefore means greater colonies of bad bacteria, more yeast, more mucus, the more likelihood to have parasites. Because if we're having buildup of waste in the gut, our body is going to enlist the help of opportunistic organisms to start breaking it down. These things all negatively influence us though. So when we're eating and eating and eating and eating, aside from burdening the body with just this constant work, we are also burdening the stomach as an organ. We're burdening the small intestine as an organ. We're burdening the colon as an organ. But we're also burdening kidneys as an organ of elimination and bladder. And we're also greatly burdening liver and gallbladder. And that's an issue for like most people here. Most all people, we're going to have colon congestion and liver congestion. So what I'm getting at basically is that like if we keep snacking, we're doing our body a disservice. We're putting extra burden on our body that sooner or later we're going to have to do the work to undo that. But the longer that we've been in this burdensome cycle, the more repair and the more undoing eventually that we will have to do. For when we're eating like this, we're just creating extra strain on the body. And that means that we're going to probably be more fatigued. We're going to probably be more moody. We're probably going to be sleeping less well because we've got a greater chance of having gut dysbiosis. We've got a greater chance of having parasites and absolutely more inflammation. So you see like the mere task or the mere lifestyle habit of snacking or eating larger meals than are necessary or eating more frequently than is necessary, we're over time creating a situation that is going to become much bigger with many more like symptoms in the body, anywhere in the body, than we want to experience. And then because this habit ultimately does create more issues in the gut and more inflammation, that then is going to help lead to constipation, which is, the residual buildup of waste in the body, but then a slowing down of the entire digestive tract because it's being overworked. And then when we have constipation, that is what then leads to all of the other health issues. So again, we're talking mental cognitive issues, mood imbalances, but we're also talking skin issues, the food intolerances, the environmental allergies, the lacking energy, the lacking emotional stability, and everything else that comes with that. So that's why I want to really just shine a light on this simple habit right now. This isn't something that I see really talked about in like the holistic gut industry right now, but this is something that really is real for most people. And so if I can just expose this really simple habit and the truth of what this ends up leading to, maybe we can work on not having our bodies go into that direction that truly, big picture, we don't want to experience. Because again, 90% of all disease symptoms begin in the gut. Death begins in the gut. I mean, at this point in time, in space and time on the planet, none of us get off of this planet alive, but still, we want our lives to feel good. We want to be living in bodies that feel good, that have the energy and the clarity and the stability and the adaptability and the resilience to live the lives that we really want to live. I work with so many mothers who are like, I want to be there for my kids. I want to actually have the energy to play with them. I don't want to be dying younger than I need to be. I don't want to be dealing with these health issues or disease issues. I don't want to be on these medications, and I don't want to be passing down the habits that I can feel are crappy for me. I don't want to be passing them down to my children. And that's really important to know. That's a really important standing place to be in your life as a parent or, as a person, is that when we've got these issues going in our body, they always lead to more things. Anytime that we've got gut issues, like there isn't a pill to take that's going to remedy it. You can't just green juice these things away. Like we actually have to go in and cleanse out the digestive tract of everything that's been built up in it. Because again, we're talking 5 to 25 pounds of old shit in most humans' bodies. And then that leads to all of the other problems, again, of yeast and mucus and bacteria and parasites and all of the things that we, again, truly don't want to experience. Okay? So the concept of rest and digest means that we are allowing our body the space and the time and the grace and also our breath to actually very well digest the food that we intentionally put into our mouths. So this looks like when you eat a meal, we're going to wait hours before we eat our next meal or snack. So we want to make sure that our meals are satisfying enough and healthy enough that they're going to last us a couple hours in our body, okay? So the idea is that you eat a meal, we wait a few hours, 3, 4, 5 hours before we're eating another meal. And then we're going to wait hours again before we eat our final meal of the day. And then when we're waiting for these hours in between our meals, that is the important time that we work on hydrating the body. So we eat our meal, and in the rest and digest period, we give ourselves time to hydrate. And then when it's time to eat our next meal, we eat our meal. And then in the hours that we're waiting until we eat again, that is our time to hydrate. Okay, so when we're doing it like this, when we become accustomed to this as like a daily habit, just in the way and in the frequency that we eat, the digestive tract starts changing and healing quickly. So anytime that So really, it's like we're creating small gaps of time during the day where we're technically fasting, where we're not putting more stuff in our body, into our mouth hole, but we're allowing our body the time and the space and the grace to work on what it needs to work on, okay? So let's picture you work whatever job you work. I used to work corporate jobs. And so imagine you've got this task on your desk, you're working on this task, and then boss comes over, hands you more work. Boss comes over again, half an hour later, hands you more work. Boss comes around a bit later, hands you even more work, right? So like how overwhelming would that feel for you if you're like, I'm still working on the first project and the first project is really important. The first project's going to take me some time and you just keep coming over here and giving me more work and more work and more work. How do you think I'm supposed to get this done? How am I supposed to do all of this? I'm only one person. These are my resources. This is all I got. I can only work on what I'm working on. When I'm done working on this, then I'll move on to the next task, right? So it's kind of like that same idea in our body. And another piece of this is that the digestive tract, as I mentioned, in the beginning of this episode, that it is very, very, very much a part of our nervous system. So it's called the enteric nervous system, and it's connected to the brain via the vagus nerve. And so what is going on in our gut, and know that in the colon alone, we have more neurons, so nerve cells, than in the entire spinal cord, right? So much of our nervous system is in our gut. And also when we're just eating and eating and eating and eating, it's like we're overworking the body, we're overworking our organs, but we're also overstimulating the nervous system. One way that I explain it to people, and this is for when we're eating a lot of food frequently, or food that has a lot of ingredients in it, is that it's kind of like taking an autistic child and taking them to a rave. It's like we're taking a very sensitive nervous system because, again, most people have some gut issues. That means that we've got some nervous system issues as well because that's, part of the gut. So it's like we're taking a sensitive nervous system that needs ease and grace and healing and love and support and coherence. And instead it's like we're assaulting it with way too much information, way too much stimuli, too much ingredients, and too much of a workload. So I'm trying to have you understand your body more as, again, a system of systems, because your organs are all consciousness. Your organs are really how do I say this? Your organs have spiritual aspects to them. Your organs are multidimensional. And I'm not trying to get too woo-woo with this yet, because we're going to go deep into some very interesting things in the future. But I just want you to have a basic understanding that our organs, they've got soul to them. They've got heart to them, and the more that we can just understand the basics of how this body really works as a system of systems and how we ought to interact with it, we just start shifting these small things in our daily lifestyle and in our daily habits and practices. And these small shifts of alignment and coherence start reaping huge, huge benefits and results. And so looking at eating in this way, where we're giving ourselves appropriate time to rest and digest, that's how we're creating more ease in the digestive tract. We're creating more ease in the nervous system. And again, we're allowing the body the time and the space to actually process, to absorb, to assimilate, and to integrate. And in this process, because we're not overworking and overburdening the gut, well, the whole system of systems that your body is, this means that we're also going to start pooping better also. And so when we're doing this, we start getting small benefits of fasting, because fasting provides so much benefit for the body. I remember reading a couple years ago that there was a study of seniors in hospital settings. And when seniors actually were fasting for about 3 days, water fasting in a hospital setting, that their immune system was completely rebooted after just 3 days of fasting. And so I know that idea might seem, extreme for most people, and that's totally cool. But what I'm trying to help you see is that when we stop putting food in our mouth hole so frequently and we give our body time to actually work on what it needs to work on and do the shit that it needs to do, our body is going to come into more of a healing state, more of an integrated state, more of a balanced state where healing can actually happen. So resting and digesting is simply creating chunks of time strategically through our days where our body gets to slow down and process what it needs to. So we just got these small chunks of fasting throughout the day. And so this can look like a couple different things. For some people who are intermittent fasting, like myself, this has really just become a lifestyle. And so, what that means for me and my body is that I'm not a breakfast person anymore at this point in my life. Breakfast makes me feel like heavy and full. I start feeling more dehydrated. I drink less water in the day. My pooping slows down, and I just feel like energetically more burdened if I eat breakfast. So if I do have any food in the morning, it's going to be like a green juice or like some type of vegetable juice that I make at home, or it'll be a smoothie that's mostly like fruit and greens based, or maybe a piece of fruit. And that'll always be like later morning after I spent the morning, like the part, the part of the morning, goodness, the morning when I wake up, drinking and drinking and drinking fluids. So around lunch, that's when maybe I'll start eating like some fruit or have my smoothie or juice around then, which acts as basically like a really light, very hydrating, alkaline, nutrient dense, easy meal for my body to digest. And then I wait hours throughout the afternoon with not eating any more food, but drinking water and water and water and drinking tea, like herbal teas that are organic, caffeine free, drinking. I hydrate. And then I have a big, beautiful meal that's generally very plant based, lots of vegetables, normally raw veggies and cooked veggies together at this time of year. And then I stop eating for the night and then I hydrate. So when I'm living like this, it's like that is what my organs need in order to actually work well and work effectively. So this timeline of how I eat in the day allows my body to just do what it needs to do and poop great. And so if I'm pooping great, I know that I'm absorbing well. I know that I'm assimilating and integrating well. And of course, I've had to learn to eat this way though. Like it's been a journey. Nobody just gave me this formula 10 years ago and was like, "Hey, do this. You're going to notice amazing things change in your poop, in your health, in your nutrition, in your energy, in your sleep, in your moods, and in how your body looks and feels and operates." Nobody told me that. I needed to figure out this all on my own. But now, great thing, after years of me studying this, years of me integrating this wisdom into my own body, and also years of me instructing other people to do the same and always seeing the right and the same results. Now I bring this information to you because it is tried, it is tested, it is true, and me telling you or suggesting to you to think about the way that you eat more in this way, it's going to help you. This can only help you. In case you are a breakfast person, if you're a person who's like, "Nah, I gotta eat in the morning. That's how I start my day. That's how like what my body needs." That is still perfect. So what rest and digest looks like for a person who eats 3 meals a day is that upon waking, like as soon as you get up, first thing we want to be doing is drinking water. Okay, your body does so much rebuilding overnight, so much healing overnight that normally when we wake up, we're in a more dehydrated state, we're in a more acidic state. So first thing we want to always do, and this changes things really well, okay, is we want you to chug water first thing in the morning. And the rules to this, simple rules, is that it's never tap water, never water like from the city, from the faucet. We always want to be drinking purified water, okay? Rule number 2 is that the water that you're drinking, chugging, first thing when you wake up, it's not cold water, because that's really shocking to the body, and that will reduce blood flow in your digestive organs and cool the body internally. We don't want to do that. We want to be working to increase the digestive fire, okay? So that looks like chugging water that is purified water, and it's either room temperature or it's warm water. And so this water, it can just be plain water, purified water. This could be water with fresh lemon squeezed into it with some stevia as a sweetener or some raw honey. This could be water that has a splash of apple cider vinegar in it for all of the health benefits that brings. Or this could be water that has some diatomaceous earth in it, which is very healing for the body, for the connective tissues, for hair, skin, nails, and also for killing parasites. Or this could be the mixture that I have most all people that I work with healing their guts take on a morning basis, which is a mixture of psyllium husks and liquid bentonite clay. And if you check out my website under the psyllium and bentonite protocol, you can have exact instructions on how to do that for yourself as well. That is very appropriate, the psyllium and bentonite cleanse as a morning drink first thing upon waking for pretty much all bodies, whether we're dealing with more so constipation or dealing more so with diarrhea or anything in between. This drink first thing in the morning is an extremely gentle and very, very healing part of the day. Okay, so if you're a 3 meals a day type person, first thing we're doing upon waking is drinking so much water immediately. Okay, then after you chugged at least, let's say, a quart or a liter of water, okay, at least a quart or a liter of water, then go for your coffee or your tea, which both of those honestly should always be organic, because the not great companies of this planet, the not great corporations spray the shit out of everything. So, whatever we're putting in our mouth, we want to make sure that we're not increasing the toxic load on our body. So we hydrate as soon as we wake up, then opt for your tea or coffee, then opt for your food. Okay, so again, and I know I've talked about this before, but first thing in the day, what is going to help your body the most, help energize you, help get your digestive tract flowing, help make you feel really good, is alkaline, hydrating, nutritious food first thing in the day. So that looks like fruits or veggies. If we're eating heavier things in the morning, like, anything that's processed, anything that's fast food, anything that is very salty, very bready, very dairy-y, lots of meat, like anything like that first thing in the morning, that's just like a punch to your body. Like that is stuff that is hard for your body to deal with as soon as you wake up. So if those are the things that you like in your lifestyle, those heavier, fattier, protein-rich and dense meals, that's way better to be your lunch, or that's way better to be your dinner, okay? But for your breakfast, your body is going to start healing and rebuilding and pooping better. And pooping better means everything else in the body starts getting better. This is all going to be best if breakfast can either be fasting, so intermittent fasting, or breakfast is a bowl of fruit, or, an apple and an orange, or a smoothie, or some vegetable soup if it's a cold morning, anything that's just like really liquidy and made of fruits, or even made of vegetables, or even like a greens juice, like a veggie juice in the morning. All of those things are the perfect way to start your day. So you drank your water as soon as you got up. Not, you didn't do your coffee first thing. It's like we put water into the mouth is first thing. Always, my friends. So water into the mouth, then you do your coffee or tea, then you do your food if that's what you choose to do in the morning. And then, make sure that meal is satisfying enough. And then we don't eat again until lunchtime. But during those hours that we are resting and we are digesting, we're also using those hours to hydrate. And I promise you, this formula always works. Like, this is the way to do it if you want to have a body that looks good, that feels good, that operates properly. And like the big thing here is a body that's not going to get sick, a body that's not going to degrade into all of the inflammatory autoimmune conditions that we see most people who are on a standard American diet with gut issues that they're experiencing. Okay, so I'm telling you here the exact things to do to change your health and make sure that you're never, you're not going into a direction again that you don't want to experience in your body. So after all that, we've spent some hours hydrating and we've actually let our body digest our breakfast. Then you eat your lunch, okay? And so you eat, hopefully, quite a plant-based lunch. Please take the time to actually breathe and slow down and chew your food. And then after you're done lunch, now we're going to wait hours before we eat dinner. And so again, same thing, all afternoon, we're not eating, because if we just keep, you see that bowl of candy and you grab some, or you see the dish of almonds and you grab some, or whatever it is, it's like then you're making your body start this process again. Right? And it's just like we're overworking. So after your lunch, we're taking these hours in the afternoon again to focus on hydrating your body. So water. Okay, water, 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 water. And then dinner time comes and we have effectively digested our breakfast and then digested our lunch. And now dinner comes and we're gonna sit down and we're gonna slowly eat and chew. And again, hopefully there's a lot of plants on our plate at dinner because that is what keeps digestion going really good. And that's what makes us really healthy. So you eat your beautiful dinner, and then after dinner again, we pause from eating and we hydrate and we hydrate. And then maybe, after an hour or two, if you do want to have like a small evening snack, let's just make sure that it's not like immediately after dinner. Let's give dinner some time to rest and digest. And then maybe you have a snack. And then we are just waiting, waiting until you go to bed. We're back into the mode of resting and digesting. And then we stay in that space all night of resting and digesting and rebuilding the body. So for me, because I intermittent fast, I try not to eat after 8 p.m. at night, and then I'm really not eating solid food again until the afternoon of the next day. So I'm easily giving myself, what would that be? 12, 16, 18? I'm normally giving myself about 16 to ultimately 20 hours before I really eat solid food. But that's just like what works really good for my body and for my lifestyle. If that's something that looks appealing to you, if you want to try intermittent fasting, it is something to like slowly ease into, and your body does need to acclimatize, so like at this point in my own life and in my own body, I poop amazingly. I poop really, really great every day. And please be so comfortable with me sharing that with you because like I'm trying to normalize these things about the body because it is so taboo in our society still. And most people just don't even have a clue of what normal is or even what common is in a dysfunctional way. So with the way that I eat, I poop great. I've got the energy that I need. I'm sleeping well. And like my body is actually like really utilizing the nutrition that I'm putting in it. And if I can tell you, like in my own body's experiences, the biggest differences that I notice, because, there will be still days here and there where, we were out all day and I grabbed a croissant for breakfast and maybe it was a chocolate croissant, or I ate something heavier in the day and then I ate some snacks a bit later and then I went out for lunch. And, like I occasionally have those days in my life, days that are very filled with food, that is happening quite often and not what is typical for me. And again, on those days, like I feel a little bit crazier. I feel hungrier. I feel snackier. I feel a bit moodier. I generally feel more dehydrated. And honestly, like my belly, I'm a smaller person now, but like my belly will just feel like big and heavy and thick and full, and like I actually move slower in the day. And then I even feel like I'm thinking slower and I'm a bit foggier. And I know what I just described right there is how most people are feeling most every day, even if they're not recognizing it. So I just want to shine light on that because when we do adopt a different way of eating, a different strategy of eating, like when we're eating and when we're focused on hydrating, and then when we're eating again, and then when we're focused on hydrating, like when we can actually gain strategy and implement strategy in our days on just how we're treating our body and how we're interacting with our body, because body again is a system of systems. So when we just learn how to properly interact with these systems, the systems are going to change how they're functioning. And every system in the body affects other systems of the body. So again, just by us simply changing the timing and the strategy of how and when we eat, we'll start to reprogram the entire system of the body that you are, right? Because like big picture, again, you're an eternal soul, regardless of your faith or religion. Come on, guys. We existed in some energetic way before we were born, and after we die, in some way, we're still going to exist. So this human body is a temporary experience, and you are this gorgeous sack of flesh. You are a multidimensional being temporarily having this experience in a human body. So why are we not doing this as best as we can? What is the reason to not take such beautiful care of these bodies? Because these bodies are God's vessel. Your soul is light and information being emitted through every cell of your body, through the organs of your body. We're not like we're Barbie dolls and Ken dolls where you cut into us and we're just like flesh-colored, plasticky, rubbery stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's like you are your organs. You are the systems of a physical biology. You are all of that, and you are so much more. But for you to truly be who you're here to be and live a life that, again, is resilient and adaptable and purposeful and loving and in service to others and rewarding for you as a spiritual being, this is going to be so much better in a body that is well. And again, I share this from my heart because, I spent the majority of my life in a body that was not well, and all because my digestive tract was so polluted. Yeast, bacteria, parasites, oh my goodness, parasites. And come on, guys, literally, find me a human that doesn't have parasites. But my life was so altered because my digestive tract was so out of whack and so constipated, and I was constantly on pharmaceuticals that had so many side effects because nobody had the intelligence or the wisdom to actually understand what was going on in my body, and that simply, I was just literally full of shit. Okay, so the way that our lives get out of hand, all because we've lost wisdom in a society, especially through mainstream medicine, Western medicine. It's it is just completely devoid of wisdom or actually understanding what the human body is. So in a nutshell, that is what I wanted to talk to you about today. I wanted to very, very lovingly bring you to this idea of resting and digesting. And the more frequently that you can put your body into this place of rest and digest, whether that means that you want to do, a 2-day juice fast or a 10-day juice fast. I don't ever suggest water fasting for a person who is not really familiar with fasting. And I never, ever suggest dry fasting, which means no water, nothing, okay? And I would never suggest any of that. But juice fasting is very, very safe. Or just liquid fasting is very safe also, where we're doing juices and smoothies and broths and soup and everything is just liquid going into the body. There are so many different ways to fast to create more of rest and digest. But simply, you can create these times and these moments and these hours in your day while still eating 3 meals a day. You can still enhance your body with the opportunity to go inside and do its work just by you not snacking throughout the day. Actually, schedule your meals, and in between your meals, don't put anything else into your mouth except a lot of water and or teas, whatever else you want. Well, I mean, good things, but this is the way that your body is going to begin healing. And one more thing that I want to say about this is when I'm okay, we do breakfast, and then in those hours before lunch, we hydrate. Then we do lunch. And then in those hours before dinner, we hydrate. With that strategy, ideally for all of us, we want to be aiming for a gallon of purified water a day. Truly, a gallon. Even I'm a small person, I still do a gallon, guys. So regardless of what size body we're in, a gallon is a beautiful place where things really start changing. And when I say things change, I mean energy changes, sleep changes, headaches change, skin changes, bladder, kidney stuff changes, poop changes for the better. Everything starts changing, okay? Because if you're in a dehydrated body, nothing can function properly as it's meant to. So you're going to be tired, you're going to be moody, you're going to be foggy, all of that. So in these times of rest and digest, ideally, what this looks like is in the morning before lunch, you've drank half of a gallon of pure water. Some of that, again, could be vegetable juices. Some of that could be herbal teas. Coffee dehydrates us, so coffee works against this, okay? But half of a gallon before lunch, and then if you can get your other half of a gallon in those hours in the afternoon before dinner, that's going to set you up in the best situation possible, okay? So get half a gallon down before lunch, get half a gallon down before dinner, and then any extra fluid that you drink during the day is just, that's even better. But if you can adopt more of a strategy of how you're eating, and therefore the times that you're not actively eating, this is going to work into your benefit no matter what. So if you do have questions about any of this, catch up with me, either email me or let's get in touch on Instagram, okay? And also, if this information is novel to you, if this gave you like some ahas, if this is helping you look at your body differently, or even you wondering whatever types of digestive issues that you're having, that maybe this is a piece of it, I promise you this piece is going to help all of us heal, whether you're dealing with digestive stuff, constipation, anything that's inflammatory, anything that's autoimmune. This conversation matters. So if you feel like this conversation has been helpful for you, please put this on Instagram, put this in your stories and tag me so that I can see that this is being supportive to you. Okay? Also, please, if you have not yet subscribed to this podcast, please hit subscribe because I've got so much good stuff planned for you that's going to be here to help you. And of course, these are the issues that upwards of 80%, more than 80% of people are dealing with. So if it isn't specifically for you, tell your mom, tell your sister, tell your husband, tell your brother, or look at your little ones, because this is the information that we're bringing wisdom back into how we human ourselves. And yeah, so anyways, please subscribe if you haven't. And also, if you would leave a review so that more people can see that there is value in here that can help improve your life experience and improve your health, which therefore reduces your suffering and therefore reduces our collective suffering. Okay? So I hope that this was great for you. Next episode that's coming up is everything that you need to know about constipation. I'm going to make it as succinct and impactful as an episode as I can. And again, if you have any ideas or questions about topics that you would like me to cover in these podcasts, get in touch with me, reach out to me, because I want to make the stuff that is most valuable for you. So thank you for spending this time with me. As always, I appreciate your ears. I appreciate your heart. Please drink so much water today. Keep doing all the good things. Whatever the not good things that you know that you're doing are, let's do a little bit less of that. And let's just increase the good, okay? 2020 is here. We've got an amazing year ahead of us. And I know that you guys can all... I know that you all feel that things are moving in a direction that's different, in a direction that's more benevolent, in a direction where we're all going to be more aligned and more on purpose, and things are getting better. Things are getting better in this world. I know it looks a little crazy out there right now, but we've got really amazing things on their way right now. So I love you guys very much. Please keep taking really good care of yourself. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I will see you in the next episode. Have an amazing day, my friend.